Women don't sell, say higher-ups at Ubisoft, and that's why we ended up with only male characters in Assassin's Creed games or female as just an option, while the creative team wanted to only go for a female lead instead. Some super interesting but mostly sad things have come to light about how Ubisoft operates behind the scenes. There have already been some good changes, you could say, with big names responsible for many allegations leaving the company, so we can only hope that it will change, but it seems like they still got a long way to go. In this video, I want to talk about what we learned about recent Assassin's Creed games and how the vision for those titles was different, but it wasn't possible because women don't sell. Well, we actually have an Assassin's Creed example that already proves that wrong. Thanks for tuning in to the Sunday Your Game Show episode 14, where I discuss recent gaming trends and make predictions based on research. And I'll of course answer one of your questions at the end of the video as well. So a like would be super appreciated. And let's go. This is the final Sunday to enter the July giveaway for a 2020 game of your choice on your platform of choice. You find the link to participate in the pinned comment, and be sure you are a subscriber of the channel as well before you enter. Good luck. Maybe you've already seen this article by Bloomberg from Jason Schreier, who of course used to work at Kotaku and is now writing articles at Bloomberg. And his latest piece is on the culture inside Ubisoft. You are likely already aware about the many allegations, right, against a lot of top men at the company. Overall, I really recommend that you read the article to learn more about the stuff that is going on. And we actually talk about it as well on the new episode of the weekly Assassin's Creed Valhalla podcast, the Assassins Cast. And I will link to that episode in the pinned comments. In this video, I mostly want to focus on something that became super obvious, even very recently with the reveal of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I received like 15-20 assets of the game, and it was all male Eivor. Okay, apart from this one on the ship, but you have to zoom in multiple times to see that it's indeed female Eivor. They did have the statue of female Eivor from the collector's edition, but that was really our only look at this character for more than 2 months, while they are equal in terms of gameplay, and we now learned that you can actually switch between them at any point in the game if you want. To be fair, the Ubisoft Forward events really focused on her. The deep dive video only had female Eivor, and also got the same art this time, but now with our female lead. Why they did not show her the first time around is still unknown, although we might have an idea of what is going on. Something that you could also guess if you follow the Assassin's Creed series for a while. All the directives came from Ubisoft's marketing department or from Haskowitz, both of whom suggested female protagonists would not sell, the developers say. In Assassin's Creed Syndicate, the developers at Quebec wanted to give Jacob and Evie equal screen time, but as we all know, and this box art also perfectly demonstrates, Jacob dominated the game in the end. Assassin's Creed Origins, released in 2017, was originally going to injure or kill off its male hero Bayek early in the story and give the player control of his wife, Aya, according to 2 people who worked on it. Well, Bayek clearly became the main character, and we could only play Aya during some of the naval sections and the pretty cool final bit of the game, but this wasn't the plan at first. Mary, who worked at Ubisoft Montreal from AC2 to 10, so Origins, confirms on Twitter that Ubisoft execs would every time say women don't sell. And then later confirms to Full Digital Valkyrie in a separate tweet that this was the reason that we got to play Bayek instead of Aya. Also, the voice actress of Aya confirms this by quote tweeting Jason's article, saying that this touches on what happened to our beloved and fearsome Aya. And you might say, I did not like Aya, I loved Bayek way more. Well, Bayek is my favorite assassin too, but maybe that would be different if we played the full game as Aya instead. Jana Sloan, a writer on Origins, said that she was just underdeveloped, likely because they had to focus on Bayek. The developers of Origins had a different idea for the story of this game, but they could not work on that vision because higher-ups at Ubisoft believe that women don't sell. Something that has been proven wrong countless of times. The most recent example is The Last of Us Part 2. You can only play women in that game, and it sold 4 million copies in 3 days, becoming the fastest selling first party game ever for Sony. Immediately reaching the top 4 best-selling PlayStation 4 exclusives, by the way, in the US, and number 3 is Horizon Zero Dawn, another game with a female lead. And I never heard anyone say, "Oh, I wish I played a male character, that would have been so much better." No, it doesn't matter. There was an Assassin's Creed game once with a female lead, exclusively for the Vita, and the higher-ups at Ubisoft could point to that and say, hey, that did not sell a lot of units, but that likely had to do with the relatively low scores for the series, and mostly the fact that it launched on a system almost nobody had. I would actually argue that the sales were pretty good for a Vita game. It sold almost 600,000 copies in just a few months, and the Vita only sold like 4 million units at that point. So that's really good for a game that is a Vita exclusive, but Ubisoft would not have it and even forced Alexios as a playable character in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. The team originally proposed making the sister the only playable character, according to 4 people who worked on the game, until they were told that wasn't an option. The final product gives players a choice between the 2 characters. People mostly want a single character in an Assassin's Creed game, and I get why, because then the narrative can fully focus on supporting this person and his or her backgrounds. Something that is harder when both characters say the same things and act almost the same way. But according to this report and many other people who talked openly about this after the article, you can only have a female character in your game if you also have a male. Like they had to ship with a playable male character when they wanted to only focus on a female lead. Because according to this report, Ubisoft believes that you need to show male characters in the marketing material, otherwise people will not buy the game. If you just watched the Assassin's Creed Odyssey commercials, then you were surprised to see the option to choose a female character at the start. And I get that Ubisoft is a business, like 15 Ubisoft studios are working on Assassin's Creed Valhalla, it cost them hundreds of millions, so they don't want to take a risk, but female leads should not be seen as a risk. 2/3 of the people played Alexios in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, 1/3 Cassandra, and seems like more people want to play male Eivor too, looking at this Instagram poll, for example, that Ubisoft posted. But isn't that because people are used to playing a male character in an Assassin's Creed game? The real question would be, are you going to skip Assassin's Creed Valhalla if you could only pick female Eivor? Would that really matter for you? Would that ruin the game for you? Drop it down in the comments. Like, I'm curious to hear your take. For me, it really doesn't matter who I play as long as it's an engaging character, and Ubisoft is now forcing developers to incorporate a male character into their game, while they had an awesome idea for a female lead. Creative freedom is important, and sure, it has to make business sense as well, and maybe killing off your main character in Assassin's Creed Origins is a huge risk, especially because that game was trying to reinvent the series, like a lot was riding on Origins, but the whole reasoning behind like not having a female lead is just stupid. And we also now kind of see it in Far Cry 6. Like, we can choose to play a male and female character, and this is the male character. And here we have a screenshot of the female character, but she has a ton of gear on. Like, you can't really tell if it's a female. I think we see the female here too in the city. But yeah, I guess. And what is actually funny, or actually it's kind of sad, we had another screenshot of female Eivor at the reveal of Valhalla. This one, where we see Eivor look over the green hills of England. It says in the file title that it's female Eivor, but I can't see it. Like, why are they covering this stuff? It's freaking 2020. Just make good games with cool characters and they will sell. Like, are they now looking at Breakpoint and saying, okay, that game had a ton of male characters, maybe we should just not do that anymore? No, of course they're not looking at that. Helen from Watch Dogs Legion actually saved that game. Like, a ton of people were excited about Watch Dogs Legion because they saw this old lady, and that old lady now helped them shape this new Watch Dogs Legion that I told you about in a previous video. Like, the characters in Watch Dogs Legion have way more personality now, and that was thanks to the feedback that Helen got at E3 last year. So I'm really curious where it goes from here. Really hope the higher ups now just let the creatives chase the story that they want to make. Like female leads, male leads, 2 protagonists, doesn't matter. Let them make what they think is best for the game. Sony is doing that, for example, giving a ton of creative freedom. It's paying off big time. So I really hope this changes. It sucks to read stuff like this. Okay, now let's shift gears to the questions, because every Sunday video I of course ask you to leave a question in the comments under this video, and then I might answer it in the next Sunday video. So last week I got a question from Maxim asking, will Assassin's Creed Valhalla use the same combat controls as Origins and Odyssey? So it's actually quite different thanks to the dual wielding. Like, we have dedicated buttons to the right hand and to the left hand. Actually, a right hand regular attack, right hand heavy attack, and then one left hand attack, and the animations are different. It's pretty cool, and you need to get used to that for sure. Like, the game might look familiar. I told you that in my hands-on as well. I played a ton of Origins and Odyssey. I was pretty bad at this game when I picked it up for the first time, but I grew over time. And also a big part of it is the ability wheel for the melee attacks is on another button than with Odyssey. So I want to actually talk about this way more. I had this big ability video planned for this week, and I was just not really in the mood to make Ubisoft videos in general this week. Because of all this news, I wanted to talk about this first. I think that's important to talk about, and good to know for you as well, I think, as a fan of the series, that this is going on behind the scenes. So yeah, I totally will be doing more Valhalla content. I'm actually really excited. I got some very cool info that I'm kind of sitting on and that I want to talk to you about. But yeah, can't wait to talk to you about that, and I will totally do that. So subscribe for those videos. More on Watch Dogs Legion. Got some cool things about that too. A like on this video would be super appreciated. And check out that video from last week about Cyberpunk versus Assassin's Creed Valhalla and their release date that is very close to each other. Who's going to win? What will the impact be? Interesting stuff. For now though, I'm curious to hear your comments, of course, in the comments down below. And goodbye.